Hi everyone, this is the video manual for the ONDU 6x12 Multiformat Mark III and the 6x12 Multiformat RISE Mark III pinhole camera. Every camera gets supplied inside a protective camera pouch to protect it from any scratches or damage during general use. You will also receive a snap-on filter mount, a wooden exposure chart, as well as an elastic shutter strap which you can secure over the camera when you're not using it or during transport, so you don't get any unwanted accidental exposures. The camera features a 0.25 pinhole, 0.25 millimeter pinhole with a focal length of 40 millimeters, which gives us an f-stop equivalent of 160. It has both horizontal and vertical field of view engravings, as well as a leveling bulb, indication markings for which direction we have to turn to get to our next shot, strap mounts, a standard tripod mount, and a red window shutter. The difference between the regular 6x12 multiformat and the 6x12 RISE is that the RISE also has two extra pinholes, which are located on the upper and lower film plane, upper and lower third of the film plane, which gives us the option to either raise or lower our horizon of the image without distorting the vertical lines of our shot. For more details on how the resulting images look, I would advise you to go to our website, ondupinhole.com, and you click on this particular camera so you can see what the rise and fall feature does. The same goes for the 6x9 and 6x6 RISE. There are example shots on our website, so go there. To load the film, which is the same for both cameras, but we'll use for now just the 6x12 regular, we first have to remove the back. We do so by pulling on this little recess. The back is held together by strong magnets. And to load the film, we first have to remove our guide pins as well as the supply take-up spool. To get to the take-up spool, we remove the winding knobs, which are held together on top of the camera by strong magnets. And before loading the film, we should choose the format that we would like to shoot in. Since this is a multi-format camera, we have three options: 6x6, 6x9, or 6x12. With the 6x6, we're going to get a square image and 12 shots per film. In the 6x9 setting, we're going to get 8 images and an aspect ratio of 2:3, or in the 6x12 setting we get 6 images with an aspect ratio 2:1, so a pretty panoramic looking shot. Let's start with loading the film. You take some 120 roll film, and untape the leader. In stock film that hasn't been used, this one has been many times for demonstration purposes, you just break the seal, take your supplied guide pin, and load both into the right side of the camera. And we proceed with locking with the winding pin. Always keep tension on the film so it doesn't unravel, and when you load 120 film, do not do it in direct sunlight because you risk damaging your film. You can fog it or get some light leaks or such. So always load your film in subdued light. Then we take our take-up spool and we thread the leader of the backing paper, and we turn it, let's say, almost one full turn so that it engages. And we take the second supplied winding pin, guide pin, and we load everything into the left side of the camera. We lock it again just like on the right side, and we stop when we get to these arrows. You shouldn't wind further than this. Now we're gonna close the camera. And to know how far we have to advance, I'm going to bring back the RISE and explain how the 3 different formats work. So for the 6x6 format, we can see it's written 6x6 also on the back of the camera. We use the top window. For the 6x12, also the top window, but with a difference. We'll get to that just in a second. For the bottom window is used only for the 6x9 setting. So when we shoot in 6x6, we look here and look for numbers from 1 to 12. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Those are our frame numbers. And for the multi-format setting, which we have loaded now, we look for 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and 12. We get only 6 shots on this setting. For the 6x9 setting, we have to look for numbers from 1 to 8 on the bottom window. We access these numbers by opening the red window shutter or closing it. It also has magnets to hold it together. One important thing to mention, these dividers are not the same both ways. They only work one way, not the other. Be mindful of the thickness of the wood and the thickness of this recess. General rule of thumb, if it goes in smoothly, it's okay. If you have to force it, you're probably putting it in the wrong way. So that would be it. Okay, let's get this out of the way. For the actual exposure, and before loading our film, before winding our film to the first frame, we have to be mindful that the shutter is closed. If it's open and you're winding, you're gonna obviously expose your film. So to get to the first frame, we're gonna look at this window and rewind until we get to number 2. We are looking for number 2 because we have set the camera in the 6x12 setting. If it was anything else, we would use the numbers that I just talked about. Okay, first you're gonna see some bubbles or dots. That's an indicator that you're reaching a frame. And here we are at frame number 1. If I can see correctly. It's kind of glary with all the lights. Okay, and now we need to get to number 2. I think that's number 2. Yeah. All right, now we're ready to take our exposure. We do our theoretical exposure and rewind to the next shot until we get to the end of the film. There is no rewinding back. This film will go into this film. You will finish it, and then you will have an empty take-up spool that you will use on the left side, and you repeat that process over and over again. So that's about it when it comes to that. And now I'm gonna quickly explain how to use the exposure chart. There's also an explanation on the actual chart in case you forget. So you set your light meter or camera to the film's ISO. In this case we have 50. You set the camera or the light meter to the same light sensitivity and aperture at f22. Once you've done both of these things, you can take a reading of your subject that you're taking a pinhole off and look at the corresponding reading for your time. That will give you the exposure for how long you have to leave your pinhole open. So if we take a reading of 1/30th of a second, our actual exposure time on the pinhole is 2 seconds. When you expose images with a pinhole, it has to be firm. The camera cannot move. It has to be on a solid surface or preferably a tripod during exposure, because this will ensure we have a sharp image. And on top of that, quickly, we have filters, 58 thread, and for the RISE series, we have Cookin A series that just mounts on the plastic piece like that, so we can proceed with our exposures. That's it for now. If you have any questions, drop us a comment below or contact us on our website, ondupinhole.com. Thanks and bye.